Wow.
Mhm.
That's a that's a huge story.
It's a good one though.
Well, yeah, it's a good one. Huh. Okay, so I was born and raised in Canada. My parents are Turks, and was born in Burns Lake. If you know, y'all are
Mm-hmm.
BC or you know where that is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we lived in Fraser Lake to the age of 3. Then we moved to Port Hardy, lived in Beaver Lake Trailer Park, down in Stories near Stories Beach, until the age of, I think I was, how old was I? 11 or 12, and then we moved into Port Hardy proper. But I knew Deb because we got into dancing. That's how we met in Highland App.
Yeah, that's so true.
And then, of course, then we went to high school together because she was in Robert Scott and I was in Eagle View, and then we got to PHSS. So then I went to college. My mom got cancer, leukemia. I quit school, went and lived with her in the hospital for 6 years or 6 months, and she did transition from that. 1988, June 4th. 6 months later, I got hit by 2 drunk drivers on Victoria and First, 41st in Vancouver, at the age of 20 on December 31st, 1988. Happy New Year.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
Broke every bone in my body except my neck and my back. I woke up from the middle of a coma, um, and then I went back into coma. So I was in a coma for about 7 days, 8 days. Had to learn how to walk again. Was in a wheelchair for 5 months. Back then, all they did was really look at the breaks. No one looked at what was happening with my brain. And I did have a brain injury, but no one paid attention to it. It's just bizarre. Anyways, I was in deep PTSD. I didn't know that at the time, complex PTSD, actually. But back then it was only used in military terms. So I agreed to an arranged marriage here in Turkey. Came here and married someone I absolutely did not know. Um, that was horrendous. Moved back to Canada with him, lived with him for 4 years. It was a very psychologically abusive relationship. Then I left him and got into another relationship right after that. Again, another psychologically abusive relationship. We were married for about 13 years. I'm starting to forget those details because they don't matter anymore, but
So
I
true.
had 3 kids with him, and those were the gifts from that relationship. Single parented for about 15, 17 years, worked at the airport in Comox. Um, and all that time, Deb kind of in and out of my life for a while. And the days of podcasting started with Periscope back in the day. I don't know if any of you remember Periscope, but that's when it started. Uh, and then Facebook started the Facebook Live. So I think right around then, so that was probably about 10 years ago that Deb and I kind of connected at a restaurant called Fluids in Courtney. And we were eating, and I looked up, and Deb's eyes were really black. It's like, oh shit. And then I smelled cigarette smoke. And that wasn't a rare occurrence, but we're in a restaurant. You're not allowed to smoke. And I'm looking around, and she says, "What's happening now?" It's like, "Someone's smoking." She said, did I tell you something?" It's like, oh shit, here we go. So she said, "Your mom is sitting to the right of you, and she wants me to tell you something." Now, Deb didn't know the whole story about my mom. She knew my mom transitioned, but she didn't know the story of what happened with my mom. And so she said to me, "Your mom is saying it wasn't your responsibility." And in that second, I knew exactly what she was referring to, and I just started crying. And that was because um, I lived with my mom in the hospital for 6 months, and the deal was that I took care of her. Nobody else touched her, not even doctors. They wanted to examine her, and she would say, "No, you're not touching me." So no one touched her, only me. I even washed her when Muslim faith, so there's some things that need to be done ritualistically. So I washed her. We put her in the kefan, which is the ceremonial cloth, and that's how you get married in Islam, in cloth. You don't go in with a coffin. Uh, so what my mom was referring to is that I felt guilty for, back then was, I think, 36 years, maybe something like that. Anyways, that I wasn't there for her when she actually did transition. My dad asked us to leave. His right. I mean, it's his wife, right? But I felt very guilty for not being there for her. And that kind of started the ball rolling. I got offered a position with the school that I graduated from, which then totally freed me from the airport. And kids always knew. I always told them that I don't belong here. If I get a chance, if I ever get the chance, I will move back to Turkey. And it happened. I got the position full-time October 13th, 2019, 2020, pardon me.
Wasn't
And
that in the conversation too at Fluids? Your mom told me to tell you to go.
I don't remember
Or was
that.
that a different one, different time?
No, that was a different time because every time we
Okay.
talk comes in. So right. That was a different time. So October 26th, I just kind of threw my hands up in the air and said, I'm ready for anything Turkey. I didn't know what that looked like. It could have been YouTube. It could have been, it didn't matter. I just knew it was time. And boy, 9 months to that day, July 26th, 2021 is when I landed in Turkey. I left Canada when it was in flames. I think it was Lillooet that went up in flames because of the 50 degrees. Yeah. Do you guys
It's
remember
in
that?
flames again.
Oh, gee whiz.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
I moved here and Turkey was engulfed, and I was building a log cabin house. Uh, I bought the land sight unseen. People were freaking out, including Deb. Um, with some people I didn't know that were building my house. Everyone's freaking out, including Deb. And the fear was that the logs were going to go up in flames. So thankfully it didn't happen. So hence here I am in my childhood dream of a log cabin, and there we are. So that's how I got to Turkey. I when I was in the school that I was getting certified in, Deb was one of my practice clients, and she would tap in, obviously. And there was this weird thing happening for me when I was doing the thing. She goes, "What are you doing?" It's like my tongue would do this weird thing, and she taught me then. It's like, that's spiritual truths. That's how you know that you're on the right frequency with someone. It's like, oh, okay. So that's where it really started, that I started feeling safe to explore that, because Deb had told me for a very long time, you've got some natural abilities that you're not tapping into. And that's where it all started. So I started to recognize that I could tap into people's frequencies, see their truths, and pass it along to them. And then it just went on from there. I can see past lives. I can feel a lot of things in my body. Like, that's a very true frequency area that I can pick up on things. And then one day I just thought, well, if you can ask for anything, this is what I'm going to ask for. And I just kind of said, speaking tongues sounds really interesting. Those of you that don't know what speaking in tongues is I've only seen this in places of church, okay? And it's Pentecostal churches, where someone will stand up and they'll speak this incredible language. And I've seen it in multiple places, and it's the same language. It's like, how does that happen? They don't know what they're saying, and someone stands up and translates what they're saying. And it's such beautiful messages coming through. It's like, I want to do that. That did not come through. What came through is there's a word for it. I just learned what it's called. It's in the bio. What comes through is when I'm working with someone, sounds will come through, and I write them down phonetically, and then I get pulled to or shown when to actually release the sounds for that person. I've only had 4 people actually translate what I've said, and I had one person, I was writing frantically. It was like 4 pages of what she got from the sounds. They're all beautiful, beautiful messages. So that's kind of where it went. I went back to Canada last April. Was it last April? No, year before that. I went back to Canada. It was my dad's 85th birthday. Yes, so June. I was there for June and came back. And when I came back, someone asked me to um, do a session around bipolarism. This person has a very unique bipolarism. It's like I said, I really can't do that. I'm not a therapist. However, I can come in the back door as a guide and do that. And that just kind of opened the floodgates. I got channeled this program, so I created Awakening Inner Peace. It's a 12-week program. It could be pretty much a year program. Anyways, channeled it, wrote it, started presenting it, and then the first beta group that I did it with in the fifth week, we're talking about sabotage and the language that we use with ourselves and how that affects us. And 2 o'clock in the morning, it's funny because my mom passed at 2:15, so 2 o'clock is when I kind of, download things. Um, all these choices came. It was just like pages and pages and pages. And I don't type, I don't write, I just dictated it into my computer. And I shared it with the group that following Friday. And then a workbook developed from that, two workbooks developed from that channeling. And as I was writing the workbook, I was gifting it to the group, the two groups. I heard that beautiful voice. This is the book. It's like, okay. And I started writing the book. The book just came through. And it's not like I sat here at the computer for hours and hours and tried to pound it in. That's not how I work. I kind of throw out a question, and then the answers come to the question. I brain dump, and then the book transforms from that. I don't know if that makes any sense to you all, but that's kind of how it works for me. So it wasn't that I sat here for a whole year in front of the computer and pounded it out. No, it would download. I would work for, I don't know, 13, 14 hours getting it all out. And then I wouldn't touch it for weeks. And then it would come, and then that's how that transpired. So I officially finished it January 2nd. I went through Balboa Press. The reason I went through Balboa Press is I wanted the experience of the professional author at my cost, but it was a good experience. I learned a lot. Would I do it again through a publisher? No, I would definitely publish my own from now on. I've got 9 books that I want to write, so um, that's where that's coming from. So I wrote my book, The Sacred Power of Choice, and it ended up being an oracle book. So you know what oracle cards are, and you get the little tiny book with it, and you get the little things where you need a magnifying glass to see it, and the books fall apart. Anyways, this ended up being an oracle book. I didn't know at the time that that's what it was going to be, but that's what it ended up being. And there's messages for whomever has the book, and it's like an oracle. You just open up to a page, and whatever shows up for you, you read there. And each resonance and frequency, so resonances in the book all have an image, because I was only allowed 20 images, so all the resonances have images. The frequencies are bridges between the resonances. Those don't have images in the book. But every resonance and every frequency has a story, and they're all my personal stories. And um, then I was talking to one of my clients, I don't know, maybe in April, can't remember exactly. And she said, aren't you going to do oracle cards? Like, I never even thought of oracle cards. So that was the next thing coming up. And then I started doing the Audible, and the Audible, wow. Wow. I know there's an author here, but I don't know if you've done Audible. That is a crazy amount of work. It's very interesting. It's complete. I just need to hit the button, but I want to push out the oracle cards and the Audible at the same time. My Audible is raw. I didn't cut out the pieces where I was getting emotional. I thought about it. I was like, no, I'm just gonna be me. I did cut out dead space and all that stuff, but
So
places where I'm
in,
emotional.
sorry to interrupt. So in your Audible, it's your voice?
Oh yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
there's so many people that know my voice and listen to my meditations that it
Yes.
would be weird
Yes.
having something else thing or AI. And I know that it's at 11 Labs that you can say voice in for a good half hour or so, and then it'll pick up your voice. It still sounds robotic. And for something like this, I don't know how authentic that would be. So I wanted my authentic voice, my authentic energy coming
Mhm.
through.
Love that.
And when I when I was recording, there's still places I still get emotional. And I sat with that. It's like, do I let that go? That interfere with someone's um, relationship to the book? I just thought, no, I'm just going to be me. I'm not going to edit who I am. So that's what the Audible is going to be like. Hopefully, that'll be out in a couple of weeks. I'm working on my Oracle deck. So the Oracle deck is related to the book. Now I've got a couple of people in the beta group that don't have the book and are finding it really grounds them. So that wasn't the intention, but that's what's happening. So that's really cool. Um, so because it's not a true Oracle deck like most people anticipate, that's why I made it an app. Who would have thought I'd make an app, Deb? Are you nuts? Like, how does that happen? Anyways,
I love it.
uh, and I wanted it affordable for people, so it's not going to cost anyone an arm and a leg. I'm not about that, um, and that's the other reason why I won't go to a publisher anymore. I didn't realize. I'm not saying the book is expensive, but I know there's people out there that are really tight in their budget, and if they want the actual book, especially in Canada, it's on the higher end. So I'm a little sad about that. When I do the second edition of that, I will pull it out of Balboa and I'm just going to publish it myself at my own price point. That's the other learning I had. Um, so they're all interconnected, and I just started my YouTube channel. Well, I've had my YouTube channel for at least 10 years, but I
Mhm.
didn't really actually step into it until April 22nd. And that's a significant date for me. So, pardon me. Uh, that's when I truly made the decision to step into me and stop hiding. So, uh,
Brilliant.
so my YouTube channel is official, and I'm creating a community that I will be sharing all my programs at, and that are going to be absolutely affordable. I'm not one of these people that want to charge an arm and a leg to get the key to something. It just drives me nuts that people are doing that. So it'll be membership. The first 500 get it at $5 a month, and then thereafter it'll be $9 a month. Completely, absolutely affordable. So any programs that I design will be going there, and people will have access to it. We'll have once a month the community share, talk, whatever, and then once a month I will be doing a neuro rewiring session, what I call them, and people can put requests in, and I will do that. What else is happening?
Well, can I ask you
Yeah.
a question? I've actually been writing a few as you're talking. One is, could you explain what oracle is to those that don't understand?
Okay, so I might not know the full definition of what oracle is, but for me, why I call it oracle is because it came through me. So I'm actually saying it. So for me, an oracle says what comes through and shares it.
Okay.
That's my understanding of oracle. So this isn't me coming through. My stories came through, of course, but everything else it came through me, and I orated it out. So that to me is what oracle is. That's why I call it oracle. Okay, so I thought this book was going to be for the masses, and you know that dedication piece that you write in the book. uh, what came to me was because my mom transitioned when I was 20. I didn't get to hang out with my mom as I was a young woman and pregnant and a mother and, into my 50s, all of those things. I didn't have that opportunity with my mom. And what I recognized is that this book is a piece of wisdom that see, this tears me up. Sorry.
It's okay.
This is piece of my wisdom that I get to leave for my children. And if they ever choose to have children, um, that they get to hear me, literally hear me. I don't remember my mom's voice. I have very little of her handwriting, but this is kind of a sacred piece that I'm leaving for, you know, the the generations after me. And I would highly recommend for people to do that. You don't have to publish it. You don't have to publish it. Write something for those
Mhm.
that are staying, the generations behind. And voice. I do miss my mom's voice. I don't hear her voice. I feel her, and I don't know, Deb, if you feel it, but she's here. Cigarette
Oh
smokes
yeah.
all
Oh yeah, I can see her.
over.
Always with you. She gets me
Yeah,
to smell the cigarette too.
yes, the running joke here is like, okay, I know you're here. You can stop smoking now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When
she
I was
just
a
told
kid,
me she's trying to quit smoking. She's like, I'm trying to quit, but it's the thing that connects us. So
I wouldn't know her because
yeah,
my mom
yeah.
didn't really do
Mm.
perfume. Her love was getting up in the morning, making her coffee, having her cigarette in the morning. That was her morning thing. Um, and otherwise, I wouldn't know. Well, I'm sure we would find another way to connect, but that's the easiest.
Yeah.
The running joke back then when we could go get cigarettes for our parents. Benson and Hedges lights was her thing. I would go to the bathroom, open the package, and I would take a pin and poke holes in them and then hand them to her. She tried to smell like, go get me more. So that was the running joke.
You naughty girl.
Trying to get her to stop.
That's too funny. Another question I have is what is the name of your YouTube channel?
In the Nigh Zone,
Okay.
NIGH, right?
Yeah,
ZONE, all one word. So at in the Nigh Zone.
perfect. And another question is what are your programs about?
Well,
What
okay.
is it you're targeting? What are they about?
Well, initially when I wrote Awakening Inner Peace, it was about um, well, for that person, for the bipolarism. It's really interesting how, the divine parent, that's what I call source light, whatever you want to call it. I call it divine parent because it just takes away all of the labels and the judgments around that.
Yeah,
Uh, it's all coming back home to our sacred home.
loving
That's
oneself, right?
coming home to you. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's what it's all about, coming home to you. And that's what the Awakening Inner Peace is about. That's what my channel is about. I give you one thing to pivot what the world has taught you to bring you back to you. And um, the world view out there is fear-based. We don't
Isn't
need to
that the
live.
truth?
Yeah, we don't need to live in fear. There's
No,
nothing to fear. And I
no.
know that. Okay, so I did mention, I don't know if we caught that here, that death used to terrify me because my mom literally saw her death. She thought it was me. She saw Moses on the mount. That's what she saw. I was 8, 18, 19, 19. Do you remember Don Manowski, Deb? He was the manager of Overweighty.
I
Do
recognize
you
the name.
remember?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Oh, he was our neighbor. And I was in love with this guy. Anyways, he had his dog Misty, and I adored her. He would give me his car. Anyways, um, I was trying to contact my parents. My brother and I were living in Nanaimo at the time, going to Malaspina, now is VIU, University of Vancouver Island. Um, and I was trying to contact my parents. Back then, it was only phone, right? We didn't have cell phones or anything like that. No answer, no answer. And I could feel something. See, back then I felt like there is something utterly wrong. So I phoned on, and he sounds strange on the phone. Don't worry, your parents are coming, your parents are coming. Okay. So my parents did come, and they got to the door. I went to the door, and I love hugging my mom. And she wouldn't let me touch her. It's like, don't touch me. It's like, oh, all right. So anyways, they sat down, we found out she had cancer, and she told me about the dream, and she was worried it was me, but it ended up being her being called home. So from that point, it terrified me. Actually, am I allowed to use bad language here?
You can say whatever you want. You're open.
I was fucking pissed. Let's just say
Yeah.
that when God took my mom away, I was pissed. I just like was against everything. I wouldn't even say I was agnostic or atheist. Like I was just deeply enraged that he would take my mom away from me, or it would take my mom away from me. So I moved away from a lot of things. I was very rageful, I was very angry, lots of guilt, lots of shame, lots of um, anxiety, like deep-seated anxiety. And that's how I wake up every morning, feeling that. Yeah, it was brutal. So when I started to come home to myself, I wouldn't say it was, how can I say this? I wouldn't say it was like hard work. It was hyper intentional, conscious choice to move from fear-based living, anxiety, shame, guilt, to love. And how that happened was when I accepted the position with the Institute, the mandate was that you have to magnetize every single day. There's no option around that. Okay, so moving your frequency higher and higher. And I really got into that practice. Meditation, I think meditation is taught incorrectly. I think it's moving differently now, but back then it's like clear your mind. Well, if your mind is so cluttered, how do you clear your mind?
Hmm.
It just set you up for a fall, or to really detest that whole thing because you get it for like a split second and then it's gone. Well, you can't do this because it's cluttered. You've got to clear some space, not a lot of space, just a tiny bit of space where you can feel like literally that you can breathe in your mind. And the method I do does that. Now, does it happen overnight? For some people it does. Oh, Shelly didn't come. Shelly could attest to that. It's like I would do sessions with her and we'd be done like in 10 minutes. Like that's done. It's like, wow, great. Okay. But if you don't clear a little bit of space, you can't add something new. So if you think of let's just use your computer or your desk, and you've got stuff all over your desk. You've got to put a new desktop on your desk. What do you need to do? You need to clear a little bit of space at least to put the laptop or the desktop on your desk, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Absolutely.
same here. You got to clear some space in order to bring in new energy. When you can clear a little bit of space, then you can drop down here. This is the true brain. This is our true brain. This is where we live. This is where we breathe. This is where we reside. And when we can be here, stop, drop, breathe instead of stop, drop, roll for fire drill, stop, drop, breathe. Bring that through.
Mm-hmm.
When you can stop and you can drop and you can breathe, you exhale slightly longer. You can pause. When you can pause, you can get into observation. When you can get into observation, you can get curious. When you can get curious, you can see all the perspectives, the choices available to you. And then you take conscious choice in what decision you want to make. Now, it sounds like it's a long process, but it's not. It's not. Once you start practicing that way of being, it's just really easy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm doing now, is bringing everyone home.
I love that. That's so brilliant, Nye. And what you're doing to me is very important work, because as people talk about the Lord God, what is God? God is love.
All
Love
roads
is
lead to
what?
love.
The temple, right?
Yeah,
Within.
yeah.
It's not necessarily the four walls, it's within. So you have to love self, because if you don't love self, how can you love anything else in life?
Absolutely.
You can't.
Absolutely. You can't.
And how can anybody love you when you're putting yourself down because your hair's not done or your clothes aren't, or your makeup's not done. It's what's inside that really
Well,
matters.
that's very interesting because, pardon me, when I left Canada, I was probably, well, let's go back more. When I first got pregnant, I was a crazy athlete. Deb can attest to
Oh,
that.
absolutely. Yeah.
And then I got pregnant and I gained a lot of weight. So I went from 145 pounds up to 225 pounds for every single pregnancy. Didn't matter. And I didn't lose that weight until, well, I had my divorce, my second divorce. And I went down to 165. Then I got cancer, cervical cancer, and then I had a radical hysterectomy. No one tells you what happens when you have a radical hysterectomy.
No, they
That
don't.
no, they don't. You go into medical menopause, which means you're in menopause 24 hours later, and your body goes into crazy shock. It just doesn't know what to do. So for me, I was a migraine sufferer before that, but after that, daily, daily. And if you put it on a scale, 0 to 10, daily, 9 to 10. And I couldn't stop living. I had 3 kids to support, you know? So, um, a whole year, over a year of these crazy, crazy migraines. The only thing that actually calmed it down was Botox. I couldn't even take the meds anymore because I got allergic to the medication. In fact, it got really toxic for my body. So I wasn't allowed to have any medication with these migraines. So then I was a candidate for Botox treatment. It did help. I did that for 3, 4 years or so until I got here. So when I came here to Turkey at 225 pounds, now I was on the amateur dragon boat team, Canadian amateur drag boat team, the Canadian amateur outrigger team, and we were to go to, with the dragon boat, we came in second in Canada where did we go? Somewhere in Alberta, can't remember, some river. It was brutal, but we came in second. So we made it to the Worlds. It was supposed to be in France. I made it to the 500-meter race with the outrigger also in 2019 to go to Hawaii. Each of those competitions were to be in 2020. Of course, COVID hit, that all got canceled. Anyways, I did all of that at that weight, 225 pounds. Came here, lost the weight, quite a bit of it, and now I'm back up to 225. Here's the difference. I don't feel the weight. It's just a bizarre thing. I look at my pictures from Canada and I look at my pictures from today, same weight, but I looked old in Canada. I like seriously old and ill. I don't feel old or ill here at all.
Because you're home.
Well, yes, my soul's home for
Yeah.
sure. And my mind's not running the roost. I call this the brainchild. If you can, everyone on this planet has a child, and it's the thing between your ears. I call it the brainchild. If you consider it between the ages of 3 to 5, would you actually allow your 3 to 5-year-old to run your house? Would you allow your 3 to 5-year-old to drive your car? Well, here they do, but let's not. Freaking crazy. On the highway, you see no seat belts and children at the steering wheel. It's brutally crazy. Anyways, but you wouldn't, but we do. This is running the roost, and that means we're on autopilot. What happens when you're in the car on autopilot? Cruise control in the rain. Your car goes a little loopy. That's why they tell you not to
Yeah.
cruise control in the rain because it has no control. Same thing here. This is all on autopilot. So when we can get what I call divine agency and come down here, you are living consciously, not mindfully, conscious living. You are making conscious choices. You are in the driver's seat of your life.
It's true. Very true. It's all what's within,
Yeah.
You're gonna make it or you don't. If you love yourself, you're going to make it, you know?
I don't know if there's a don't. Everyone comes to the awakening at their own time. I mean, I didn't start my awakening journey until I was like 47.
But there's a lot of people that
Right?
don't because they don't understand. That's why
Well,
there's people like you and I out there to say, wake up, let's
yes,
get you going,
yes.
Mr.
And
Jean-Luc.
Yeah.
Get going. I'm
Yeah.
going to push you and you're not stopping, mister.
No, I love
Yeah.
it because Deb and I are always like, I got something to tell you, and then Deb's like, well, I got something to tell you. We're always going back and forth. I got something to tell you.
I love
It's
it.
funny.
yeah, so everyone comes to their awakening, whether it's when you're ready to transition, or before then. My awakening didn't start till I was about 47. The girls were getting more independent. My son was growing up. And then it was the poignant question someone asked me at work. It's like, who are you? What do you mean, who am I? Like, it just kind of jarred me. It's like, what do you mean, who am I? I'm Nye. I'm a screener. I'm a mom. Kind of a daughter. I'm a woman, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, that's not who you are. Those are all labels. Who are you? I
Mhm.
did not know how to answer that question.
And I don't think a
So
lot
the other
of us
thing I
do.
just discovered is, rather than ask someone who you are, because we're so stuck on labels, ask them what they are.
Yeah.
Watch your brain trip up then.
Yes, exactly. I
You
like
know,
that though.
and when I ask myself, what am I? I'm pure love. No hesitation. No hesitation.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Hey,
What
Nye, could you talk about
Yes.
maybe a little bit about what you actually do if somebody wants a session with you?
Yeah. So the session is really based on the individual and what they're comfortable with. So I let them know what I do. And if they don't feel comfortable with that, then I keep the session quite light. So I can't really tell you exactly what happens. Again, everyone's energy is different, but I get guided. So I will feel things that are, I don't use the word trauma very often. I think it's it's overused. It's really lost its power in the word. Like, getting hit by two drunk drivers in the middle of the afternoon is trauma, right? Breaking fingers, okay, for someone that's never broken a bone in their body, okay, that's probably traumatic, but I think we've just overused the word. So I use entanglement. So if there's any kind of emotional entanglement, any kind of lack or separation, I will feel it in my body where they're holding it. 99.9% of the time, correct. And we will work on releasing that. And most of the time, the beautiful thing of what I do, you don't have to tell me your story. You don't even have to come in when I first meet you and tell me your whole story. I don't need to know. And that's a relief to so many people. It's like, I don't have to tell you the story. It's like, no, I don't need to know your story. Just let me know what you want to work on right now. I'm always in the present moment.
In a sense, is that like hypnosis? Like you're walking them through
I
their
would call it a meditative state, because no one's disempowered in this at all. In fact, they're empowered. So what I do is I hold space. They tell me what they want to work on, and we go through and I find places, and I don't say to them, what's happening now, what's happening now. We go through a whole process, and then I'll check in maybe every 5 or 10 minutes, like, is there anything you'd like to share with me? I don't guide them in what to share with me. It's like, is there anything you'd like to share with me? Well, I feel peaceful here, but I'm feeling this tightness in my throat. Then we go to the throat and we work on the throat. If I get channeled, I don't know if that's the right word, but that's what I said. If I get channeled past lives, which I do, I ask for permission to share that. Some people are scared of that. I know that feeling, been there. So I always ask permission if that's okay. So I work with where someone is at. And 100% of the time they come out of the sessions completely peaceful. When I get them to look at the subject or the topic that we went in with, it's not there anymore.
So is that part of the Codex Harmonic?
Yeah, so that was, interesting. I've only started doing that maybe a year. Maybe a year it's come in. I think
Okay.
as you mature in yourself and the more you become comfortable with your soul, more things open up for you. Is that a correct assessment, Deb?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I remember when we started talking, you said, you've got the third eye, start, closing your eyes and seeing what's behind you beside you. Back then it was Greek to me. It's like, I don't get that. But now I can get it, not particularly with myself, but with someone else I can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I have my eyes closed through the session, and it's kind of, it feels like it's at the tip of my tongue. When you want to say something, you say it's at the tip of my tongue. That's the sensation I get. It's at the tip of my tongue. So I just write it down phonetically I can't say I hear it. I sense it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I write it down phonetically. And then while we're going through the session, I get guided as to, okay, now you can say, as long as I have permission from the client to say it. So then I'll just guide the client, say, okay, the harmonic codex has come through. You don't have to do anything. I'm just going to say it, and we'll just let it rest. And if something comes through for you and you want to say something about it, great. Otherwise, most people are crying. Most people are crying.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because they're healing inside because you're touching them,
Yeah.
and that's a beautiful thing, really.
It's
It
an
is.
honor, honestly.
It is,
It's
isn't it? Working with clients for me is such a privilege and such an honor to, like you, help them through difficult times in life and learning to love oneself. I think you and I are on the same path that way. However,
Yeah.
I see, hear, feel, smell, all of that
Yeah.
stuff, and the channeling. When I get channeled, meaning spirit to me jumps into me and starts telling me things, my nuances change, my voice changed, my facial expression
Your
changed.
freaking eyes change.
Yeah, and my eyes, as you well know. Yeah. Everything changes, so that I guess it's just that hitting home, you know what I mean? It's real.
Yeah.
It's real.
Yeah. And when you really think about it, some people think, not some, a lot of people think they're not worthy. They don't belong. They don't have the right to.
But yes,
And
you
I
do.
just want to gently remind you that you are love.
Yeah,
You are love, period.
that's beautiful.
And sometimes that's hard to see. I know I was in a place where I couldn't see that. I was so hateful, so vengeful, so I attempted suicide 1, 2, 3 times.
No.
Third time my brother actually committed me to the psych ward.
Enough. But you had a purpose because you're still here. And look how many people you're helping. Like, my goodness, thank you.
I'm not laughing at suicide. I'm not saying that. I have a very different perspective.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that here because if it might be understood incorrectly. But I've done OBEs, out of body experiences, and the last time I did it. So my guides, it is Jesus and Mary Magdalene. And sometimes I can feel Hazrat Muhammad come through, like his energy is there. So I literally had this vision, Deb. I was doing a meditation with my team, and yeah, it's living and it's breathing. It hasn't left me. So I'm walking on a rocky road, but the path is really smooth, and it's got its ebbs and flows, and it's going upward. And there's a light. I know that sounds weird, but there is a light, and it's not that beaming light that people talk about. It's just this beautiful, warm glow at the end of this path. On the edges of the path are like boulders, not big boulders, but big enough. And on the other sides of the boulders are just thousands and thousands of people. I'm in the middle. Jesus to the right of me. Mary Magdalene's to the right of me. And we have cloaks on. We're walking in reverence. Our head is bowed a little bit. Our hands are clasped at our chest. And we don't have to say a word, but every time we pass by a line of people, they just become silent and peace. There's just this unbelievable depth of peace. And we just keep walking along this path. That's what I saw. And I continue to see that.
That's beautiful.
Mm.
That's like my NDE that I had, being in the arms of something. He was bright, so light, but it wasn't a he or a she or anybody. It was energy. It was, oh my gosh, the source. It was the source, right? God. And when I told Dad to come back, it's like, no, it's so peaceful here.
I
But
know.
I also have the vision like you, is I have it, but for me, I'm on top of a mountain, and Jesus is standing there, and he is showing me a valley, but the valley is vast. So basically the earth, and just talking, communicating with him. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, the message that keeps coming through to me for either two of you or just in general, it just keeps saying you have to feel small to feel big. And like that's kind of when you're describing your experience, you're feeling the great vastness of it all, right? And you it feels small, but it's interesting because for me it's like I call it the all and the nothing. It's like it's everything and nothing, and it's just such a big vast thing, and it's so big, but it's so endless and limitless, but then you feel comfortable there too, and it feels like you're connected to it comfortably.
Yeah, I call it
Yeah.
neutrality. To me,
Yeah.
it's neutrality
Yeah.
because you're not obligated to anything or anyone. No material goods, not even my children. I don't even like calling them my children. They're not mine. I don't own them. They are sovereign souls. They
Yeah.
are the souls that came through me to be experiencing life on this planet.
Yeah.
So I don't own anything. I don't own this house. I have the privilege of being here, and I will cherish it for as long as I have it. If an earthquake came the next day or fire happened to engulf it, thank you. That's all I have to say is thank you. Would I be upset? And I probably would be sad because I love where I live, and that was part of the path. Okay,
Mhm.
what's
Mhm.
next? Right? There's
Yeah.
something else designed for me. 3 years ago now, 3.5 years ago, I had this insane migraine. I have a migrainal brain since the age of 14. And this one day, it was intense. I've got a high tolerance for pain, but this was vicious. And back then, Aria Rose was here, my Boston Terrier that I came to Turkey with. And all of a sudden, the whole left side of me went completely numb, paralyzed. Like I couldn't move a thing. And I just thought, oh, I'm having a stroke. Okay. This is around 8 o'clock at night. So I put Aria to bed. She was so lovely. She was just going to kennel. And I said to her, if I'm not here in the morning, Nejla, her dog carrier, she'll take care of you. I've already taken care of it. And she cried. Like she could tell what I was saying. She was crying. I went to the bathroom, I brushed my teeth, got into bed, didn't text, call, nobody. And all it says like, hey, I'm ready, let's go. And I went into a deep, 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 deep sleep. Next morning, Arya woke me up. And I was surprised to see my ceiling because I honestly thought, that's it, I'm transitioning. I was totally okay with that. What that taught me was there's no fear around death
No.
anymore. It's
No.
time to go home when it's time to go home. Every death is a suicide. I know that sounds weird, but it is. We've made the decision with our divine team, if you want to call that. It's like,
Yes.
okay, my soul has completed what it's made the contract to do. It's time to go home. So off goes the switch. I would hope that eventually we don't have to go out so dramatically. You know, I think the most beautiful transition is in your sleep because you're already home when you're sleeping. I
Yeah.
think that's the most beautiful transition. Um, so that was beginning of April. Well, I think that was April 14th or something, 13th. So on my birthday, April 16th, Baba Da is like right across from me. It's world renowned for paragliding. I booked because I vowed I would never do it. And I booked it and I went all by myself. And it was the most exhilarating thing I've ever done in my life. Amazing. Yeah. Would I do
Wow.
it again? Not really. But it was really cool. My pilot, his name was Atakan, really beautiful man. And he was explaining how the thermals work. And he said, if we get on the right thermals, we could literally go all the way down to Antalya. And Antalya for me, if I go over the mountains, is 2.5 hours. If I go by seaside, it's literally a 6 hour drive. And I said, how long would it take us? He said, well, 4.5 hours. So, holy crap, that's amazing. I wouldn't do it here because thunder and lightning is a real thing here. So I wouldn't do it, but people have done it. And that's really amazing. So no fear for death at all.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Because it
Yeah.
was so peaceful when I was there.
Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah, there's
And love is all you felt was just complete love, but not love as in people say, I love you. It's so
no,
different. It's
that's
so,
so Hollywood.
yeah.
It's liquid. It felt like liquid for me.
Yes.
Liquid.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So do we have any questions for Nigh, anybody?
John Luke, do you have any questions?
Hello?
Did everybody freeze?
No, they're all there. They're muted right now. So if you're muted, you can unmute yourself.
I think John Luke's frozen.
I
He
think so
hasn't
too.
moved. He's not even blinking.
Yeah, you just lost him.
Yeah, just lost him. Catherine, do you have any questions? You're muted, Catherine.
Thanks, Deb.
You're welcome.
No, it's just interesting for me being of more advanced years than the rest of you to hear how people come to things, because it all happens to us at different times in our life, and I there are a lot of things going on in the world you work in that are new to me, because I didn't come to any of it that way. I came to all of it in a completely different way. So sometimes I think, okay, what is this? And then I have to kind of translate to myself and say, oh, they're talking about that, because I learned it in a whole different, completely different language, and a whole different way of, I don't know, saying and looking at things. So then I think, oh, this is what Deb's talking about. And yeah, I just,
Everyone comes to their awakening in
Yeah.
the way
well,
that's
I meant
designed.
more not so much awakening, because I wouldn't say that either. That's another thing I wouldn't say. It's more not awakening, but your introduction. Like everybody has a different introduction
Yeah,
to.
that's what I call awakening. So it's just different
Oh,
vocabulary.
I see. That's it. Language again, because
Yeah.
in my world, we never would say that unless we were talking about awakening as being like a step towards enlightenment. But just these. I think as children we are in a state of awakening, and then we realize it at different moments as a child. If things tell us then. So yeah, it's just I'm learning a new language, because I learned things and experienced things in such a very different way. So
I'd love to hear what you mean.
yeah, I'll talk
For an
about it
example.
sometime. It would take me It would take me too long.
You're going to come on here one day. We're going to have you on here.
Well, as soul beings, this is my knowing. It might not relate to, well, I'm sure this panel will get it, but some people don't understand it. We make the contract to come in. We choose the parents, we choose the experiences, and we come in all knowing.
Yes,
Now,
exactly. Yeah.
right? We come in all knowing.
Hmm.
We're also in fluid in our mama's belly. Yes, amniotic fluid. What do we know about water? We know that water
It's
holds
alive.
energy, frequency. Yes.
Absolutely.
Frequency,
So-
yes.
Yes. So when mama experiences stress, violence, drugs, alcohol, guess what you're having?
You're feeling the frequency for sure.
100%. The first thing to develop in a human embryo is the heart.
There's your electricity.
There's your soul.
Yeah.
Okay. And then thereafter, I can't remember exactly the time, then the brain starts developing. Here's the interesting thing about the
Hey,
brain.
Debbie.
That's the human brain being developed. Okay. The human brain's being developed. This is what my knowing is, and this is what's come to me. It's on my channel. That neural pathway is being built when you're in utero. You're already being programmed as a human, not as a soul, as a human in utero. So whatever happens to mama, you're experiencing sadness, happiness, elation, whatever it is, it's coming through you. And that neural pathway is already being built in utero as an embryo.
I have
When
an
you give
example of
birth-
that. Sorry.
Yeah,
go ahead.
sure.
Did you
No,
say
go ahead.
you have a what?
Mom went through a lot. I said I had an example of what she just said.
Me too.
My mom and dad were going through a hard time. There was no food. So mom would feed my sister versus herself. I was within the womb. Today, I can go a long time without eating. It doesn't bother me. It just doesn't bother me.
Yeah, I can attest for that because Mother Hen here is always telling you to make sure you eat
No.
during your long period.
I'm
Did you
terrible
eat? Did
at
you
it.
eat? Yeah, I noticed.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's just like I said, it's the program, right?
Yeah.
I
And then
have
when you
I have a memory from being in my mother's womb that I didn't realize until I was looking at it. I was talking to my mother about, I said, I remember when we had a flood in our backyard and you were worried about Dad and worried about my older sister. I said, because they gone out in a little rowboat and the water was so deep it was right up to our doorway. It looked like our backyard looked like a lake. And I said, I remember you being so worried about them. And she said, how could you remember that? She said, look at the picture. She was pregnant with me. And I remembered how she was worried about them. And
You
I was
felt
Wow.
inside her. Yeah. It was very interesting to realize that.
no, and then
Wow.
we're birthed, right? We're birthed, and then we're steeped in that environment. Our soul is still intact. I mean, if you want to see the miracle of the child, watch 3 to 5 year olds. They are the perfect role models of how we ought to be living. Okay, 3 to 5 year olds are magical. Up until we get into school.
Then you're
School is
programmed.
the greatest funneling system on this planet.
Yeah.
You're funneled into academia, you're funneled into trades, and if you're musical or if you're any kind of natural ability, you're down here somewhere and you got to prove your worth, right? And that's a tough go. Athlete, blah, blah, blah. So that's the greatest funneling system on this planet, in my opinion. My son woke me up to that when he was in grade 5. It's like, what? Yeah, yeah. So then we're deprogrammed. We go into dormancy because we've heard that language so much. We're living in it. We're kind of, I don't want to say brainwashed, but that's your reality at the time. And then at some point in your life, things start feeling sticky, right? Some people that happens at 20, some people that happens at 47, some people that happens at 69, whenever, it doesn't matter, it's your journey. Then you start feeling the stickiness. It's like, this doesn't feel good. Like, it's like the shell feels uncomfortable. Yeah. And then you start questioning things. That's the realization. That's the awakening. That's the soul knocking. It's like, okay, time to wake up. Time to wake up.
Yep.
Yes, thank you so much, Nye. It's getting close to 9 o'clock as it is now. So if anybody has any last questions for Nye, it's the time to ask. I'll give you a few.
Yeah, what's your favorite part of all of it? And I like what, because you said you feel a lot of things, you experience a lot of things, the tongues, all that fun stuff. What's satisfying for you? And I'm going to say it as in when you're working with somebody, and then you can give an answer for both your personal and both your while working with somebody. But I'm interested in when you're working with somebody.
My greatest honor and privilege is when someone comes to that moment and recognizes that they do have their own answers.
And that's mine too. Like that's a lot of times what I do is I was taught this way. Like because I'm a very blunt person and all that, so I'm working on that. And I find when I do this work, I really like it because I just kind of lead people to the answers. And sometimes some people just need to hear something. You just gotta, they keep telling you to tell them, and you're like, all right, you just gotta tell them, right? But it's fun, kind of giving a hint, and then just sitting back and watching the wheels turn, and then they come to the realization, and then you see
Yeah,
you see the
you
release.
see
Yeah.
the scales literally fall from the eyes. Their eyes
Yeah.
are open.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that is
Beautiful.
probably the greatest gift I can have when I work with someone.
hmm Okay. And then now when it comes to you, uh, what's your like? Is you? Yeah. Fuck. Sorry, it's just energy's coming through here. So you get a lot of downloads and stuff like that, and all that. Like just it doesn't have to be your most favorite thing, or you don't have to get too far in, but just something that comes to your mind, like what's kind of something, or even something recent that you really enjoy,
Okay.
like comes easy.
So this side of the planet is experiencing a lot of turbulence with threats of war.
Yeah.
And 6 months ago, Iran accidentally, I didn't know any of this because I don't watch the news, okay? I live in an area where I don't even have commercial flights overhead. Now, that wasn't my design, it was designed for me. I lived in Comox, so we know what F-18s sound like because
Oh,
I worked
yes.
at the airport. Yeah. So I'm sitting here and I'm looking at Babada and F-18s are flying over. It's like, that's not okay. So what's that all about? Get onto YouTube, and apparently there was a mistaken missile towards Turkey. It's like, I don't know how that happens. Anyways, they shot it down, and my first thing was like, oh shit, here we go, right? And then I stopped, dropped, breathed. I got my brainchild to slow down and stop. And I looked out. Now I live on agricultural land, so way out in the distance I can see cars. And I looked at the cars, there's cars driving normal. There's no actual sirens happening. It's like, okay, we're all good. And then I reminded myself, if this is the way I'm transitioning, I'm totally okay with that. It'll be what it'll be. So that's how that is for me. This place of neutrality.
Inner peace.
Yeah. So it's where you're really landing right now, and you're really practicing that. So that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I would call it, it's deeper than inner peace. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, it's
so much.
almost 5 after 9. I think we should call it an evening here. So I want to thank everybody from coming, all the guests, and Nye especially. And if you guys want to,
It's been fun.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Very enlightening, Nye. I really appreciate you coming on.
Yes.
Please, Jean-Luc, Debbie, and me and Nye, please stay on, and we'll let everybody else go. Thank you for coming.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Nye, from the
everybody.
bottom of my heart for joining us
Oh, Deb.
on my show. I appreciate you. And I love you forever.
Me too, sweetness. Yeah.
Take care.
Thanks, Sandra, for coordinating everything.
Oh, you're welcome, Catherine. It's nice
Good
to
night.
see you on here. Good night.